The same goes for when you are small. You know, you have disadvantages, but you have also advantages. And I work so hard to, you know, make those advantages very effective. Like the balance, like the speed in the turning, the twisting, and also develop a kind of intelligence to use my physical skills at my advantage and not my disadvantage. I think all those things made me the player that I am. And Diego was the same. He used to maximize everything of his body. He wasn't tall, but he made himself so strong and powerful and coordinated that.
Incredibly durable, the both of you, and Messi as well, actually. You know, you mentioned this earlier, that we are quite detailed on this programme. We found this stat when we were researching Gianfranco Zola, and I have to be honest, it surprised us. So from the time that you joined to the time that you left the Premier League, you played more games in the Premier League game than anybody else.
Wow.
Didn't know this.
Yeah.
You keep surprising me.
And there's some fantastic names on that list of people who were always available, it seemed, to their teams. But there you were, week after week, game after game.
Yeah, I think a lot of is down to the fact that I love training. I loved, you know, finding every piece of thing that could help me to be fitter and to stay longer on the pitch. I didn't like, as probably you saw in some images, I didn't like to go on the bench, not to be taken off from a match. And so therefore I used to spend a lot of time researching what I could do better to be physically ready, mentally ready, and so on.
What secrets would you share then about that, the physical side?
Well, I think for me a big moment was when I hit 33. I do remember still now, like it was yesterday. I went into a training session. It was a middle session, so a hard session, and we ended up doing some sprints. And I was doing this sprint with some young players that the year before I used to outrun completely them on 20 meters, 30 meters, 40 meters. And I couldn't win a race. Honestly, I couldn't win a race. And I was so frustrated. I went home and I said, I mean, this is the end. Or if it's not the end, I have to find something to be more competitive. So I started researching, and I ended up experimenting yogas, qigong, other stuff that could energize me and could teach me how to use my body in a better and more efficient way. And that was the key, because I ended up 6 more years and improving actually physically.
Amazing.
And that was, it was hard work, because, you know, I used to wake up every day, 6 o'clock in the morning, 2 hours before training, and then do 1 hour training on myself, and then go in training, finishing 1 hour training again on my own, and then going home to rest.
So you had this light bulb moment at 33. How old were you when you retired?
I got a couple of more years out of it. I got to 35. I wasn't doing
35.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah, of course.
The way the game is now, and we look about, you know, the structure. When we played, I think the structure was more defensively.
Yes.
Now it seems with the ball. Do you think the game is creating Gianfranco Zolas or Stoichkov or Hadjis, or, you know, these type of players who people pay to go and watch? Are we seeing enough of these players now?
No, I think.
Why?
Because I think if you remember nowadays, the teams were structured in a way you had to defend well, and then you had to be able to get the ball into the creative player, then would set the striker. And you know, you used to win the games like that. So therefore, those type of players, they were looked after. They were sought after, and those were the players that normally they were coming from the street. I mean, in my case, it's like that, and I know many others is exactly like me. They learn to play on the streets. So they need to see, and they used to imagine football, work a lot on their techniques, and then go there and create something. Nowadays, it's more structure. Everything goes through passing, And the players with my ability, most of the time they play on wide areas, and they have to apply to something that is already within the system. So they try everything. There is less and less, how do you say, you don't ask these players to create something. They need to do a certain movement, a certain thing.
A bit less improvisation, perhaps.
Less improvisation, that's more correct. And this is, I think, is, you know, we saw many things in the modern football, but we miss also some other good things that there were before.
Does that come from maybe getting the young players really early now in academy, you think?
Yes.
Or?
Yes, I think so. One of the academies are very good in a way, but bad in another, because everything you do in academy is already structured. Everything is structured. But I believe sometimes, you know, the players, they need to have the initiative. They need to understand how the game is developing, and you know, do something that is necessary to be done. Then maybe you didn't try before. I see something sometimes, actually more than one, I'm saying, you know, Cole Palmer doing this. Sometimes, you know, during the game you have to take the initiative and take a ball, take one player, and then create something. That is necessary.
Isn't that why we're all enjoying watching Cole Palmer as well? Because he just is that maverick, and he just does things off the cuff.
I like it, and this comes, and we had a chat with him, and this comes from when he was, you know, playing in the park with his dad, and he was watching the football, you know, the grown football playing, and he used to stay there, imagine, visualize, and then go to the park and training on his own and visualizing things, and then he's become the player is now. I think that is a very, very important part that sometimes I believe in the academies you are not allowed to do.
How did you find management, you know, the emotions of it compared to being a player?
Difficult, especially at the beginning. You know, it's difficult. It was difficult because it was my first experience when not the one at Watford, but the one at West Ham, and because I tried to sort out the problems the way I used to do as a player. So I used to expect the players to find something that would make us win games. But as a coach, it's different. You need to see how you can help them to take it out, everything they got. And when it's not necessary, when it's not enough what you got, you need to find ways to win games anyway when you need to. And so at the beginning, I struggled. Luckily, I had a very good staff along with me, so I was supported well, and Stevie Clark was one of the people working with me, and they helped me a lot.
Well, we've loved having you with us tonight, Gianfranco. Fair to say one of the great talents of the Premier League?
Yeah, when you think of how big the Premier League is now, you know, it's all over the world, everybody around the world. You said to us there's 6 or 7 games in Italy every weekend. The whole world's watching this league. I think the reason why is because of people like Gianfranco and Cantona and Bergkamp. These global superstars who lit the Premier League up in those mid-90s, I think is testament to what the league is today, and we should all owe them a big thank you. So thank you.
No.
Thank you, Gianfranco.
Thank you. We certainly helped the Premier League, but the Premier League gave us so much that I cannot, you know, I cannot give a price big enough to you know, to say thank you from my side as well.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Been brilliant company, Gianfranco. Thank you so much for your time. Loved having you with us tonight.
Thank you.
Gianfranco Zola, everybody.